Carol Francis, and I've been working with children and parents and families for over 36 years, and I have sadly seen the impact of divorce on children, wives, and husbands, because divorce can be so incredibly gnarly. What is it? Once upon a time they loved each other, and then suddenly they can't stand each other, and they want to ruin and destroy the other individual. And sadly, the children become the pawns in between, and as much as the parents say, I won't let the children become the players in the middle, inevitably the children do become that. Why? Because if the children want to be loved by both parents, and both parents hate the other person, there is an automatic split, and the children are right in the middle. You will always feel like a parent betrayed when your children choose to love the other parent. Odd. It's instinctive. It's inside you, but don't act on it, please. And if that other parent is acting on that same urge when the children choose to love you more, then be aware that you could just as much kind of pull them and manipulate them into loving you even more and hating that other parent. And that's not a good idea either. The most optimal circumstance is when the parent says, I'm glad you love me and I'm glad you love the other parent. I'm so sorry you're caught in the middle. Because they are. They're caught in the middle. Some of you decided, we'll let the children love both of us and we will split and separate in a way that's peaceful. But unfortunately, those are not the types of divorces that I'm talking about. And so many are controversial and destroy the children. If the marriage was already bad to begin with, and the relationship is already filled with animosity, arguing, abusiveness, antagonism, disrespect, the divorce situation is going to aggravate all of that and make it even worse. And now the children are not going to have the recourse of being able to be comfortably in one home. Now the children are divided into two homes, something so unfair that the children should not have had to endure. Why do they need to have the inconveniences of going from one house to another house, dividing their lives in kind of a state of chaos and perpetual motion, as opposed to being able to settle down in their one space where the parents deal with all the chaos? But unfortunately, that's not the way we treat our children in our society. So they are subjected to the horrors of divorce more than the parents are. So I feel sorry for the children, and really take care of the children. But here's something else that's added to the equation. As soon as you go into a child custody battle over how much money, or where they're going to stay, or how much time you have with them, or if they're allowed to have child care, or if they go to this school or that school, or how all of these arguments over the children, can't you just look at the children and take care of what's best for them, even though it may not be best for you? Well, of course, that's the right answer, isn't it? So know that intuitively inside of you, a part of it is going to be really self-centered and really self-serving, really going to want to have revenge and antagonism against this other individual, because that's human, but it's not healthy human. Instead, to be able to do whatever you possibly can, to be able to work out a situation where the children are the best, most well taken care of possibly, without controversy or argument, without making them in the middle, without twisting all the circumstances around, without having to make the children lie about this or lie about that, or cover up for this person or cover that person. Don't say, oh gee, don't tell your parents this, or oh dear, why do we do this to our children? So our society's in the middle of this twist. Unfortunately, the family courts often are as well. You're going to have a judge. You're going to have a judge that is going to be partial. It's very rare to have a family judge that isn't. Once again, why? Because that judge is human. That judge went through whatever he did with a woman in his life, or whatever she did with a man in her life that might have been the co-parent in their difficult divorce situation. Or maybe they had parents that got divorced. Or maybe they have a point of view and it's so strong and rigid that they feel like you should conform to their point of view too. So just be aware your judge will be partial. It's your lawyer's job to know what their partiality is and be able to work around that. Oh, lawyers, there's another thing about family courts, because lawyers are trained manipulators. They're there to train to manipulate the judge, manipulate the facts and the information that you give them, and manipulate you. Sick, huh? Manipulate the other side. So the fact is there's not really a whole lot of clarity as soon as you enter into the family court situation. In fact, the family court situation is actually broken. Very, very broken. But then so is your family. So now you've taken this broken family to a situation where the court doesn't really even know you, has all these stereotypes and predispositions or ways of looking at things, and they're not going to look at you with clarity. They're not. And then there are going to be all these laws that are going to be pertaining to the laws and the legislatures up in your state, but they're not going to pertain to you and your children. So the best that you can possibly do is to work with individuals that will help you be able to come up with the best plan for the well-being of the children. As soon as you put the children in the middle of the battle, you've lost, and you've lost so much. You'll lose so much money you can't even imagine. As soon as you put lawyers and family court situation into this, you'll lose so much. Now, if you've been catapulted into a situation where someone else has dragged you into court, and the most important thing for you to do is to get a very, very good lawyer. Because very good lawyers can get you in a situation, out of a situation. But secondly, you must realize that when you're in a situation with a lawyer, they look at you as, well, the pool in their backyard, their child being able to go to the best college of their money can afford. And it's your money, sending their child to college, not yours. So be aware, there's a dual purpose in that lawyer's life, and your money is that other purpose. And maybe they really do care about you and your children, but chances are it's the job, it's the money that's going to drive them, as well as the fight and the combat. They love the fight and the combat. Otherwise, they wouldn't be lawyers. The court, they probably like the fight and the combat too, or just get an easy solution and get this off their dockets. So you have not entered into a situation that's benign or friendly or good for your children or even for you. But if you've been catapulted into that situation because the other side decides to get a lawyer, make sure you get a good lawyer, make sure you are on top of what that lawyer does. Do not go passively. Do not trust sheep that are really wolves underside. Make sure you are as informed and clear-headed as you can be. And this will be one of the hardest things you do because you're going to be twisted with emotions, feelings of human urge to revenge, feeling powerless and awkward and confused, feeling in pain for the well-being of your children. Worry about your relationship with your children and your children as well. Hope that they don't love your other parent as much as they do you. You'll be in so many states of insecurity, feeling completely thrashed and overwhelmed. It's an awful circumstance. But the most important thing for you to be very, very clear about what your case is doing, what your lawyer is doing, what contribution is going on, how the truth is being manipulated against you, how the truth by your own lawyer is being manipulated. And so you want to have clarity. Clarity, clarity, clarity. And, most importantly, keep your children first and foremost. Your love for them. You can communicate that you love them. Tell them that you care. Tell them that you're so sorry they're in the midst of this. Empathize with their circumstance. You don't need them to empathize with you, but it's okay for them to be clear about what's going on. So, tough situation that you're in. Do it with as much fortitude, kindness, compassion, shrewdness, and wisdom you can possibly gather for yourself. This is Dr. Carol Francis, having been working with couples that are going through this horrible situation with their children, with each other, for 36 years. Hasn't gotten better. It is bitter, and I hope this battle goes away for you as soon as possible. And I'm here to help. Take good care of yourself.